In the wildwood of accounting, we all know garbage data in means garbage data out. The same thing applies to your body. As a C-suite guy who obviously lifts, I want to be just as sharp in the boardroom as I am in the weight room. I don't have time for guesswork supplements or flashy nonsense, and that's why I use Redcon One. Clean ingredients, real formulas, stuff that actually works when you're training at 5 a.m. at the gym or burning midnight oil in your month-end grind. So whether you're an accounting bro, finance bro, or business leader in an NGO, if you want more energy, better recovery, and fewer excuses, this is your sign. Head to redcon1.com and use promo code BIZBUYSANDBS for 20% off. Don't just audit your numbers, audit your nutrition by leaning into America's favorite supplements at Redcon One. Yeah.
Business, biceps, a little BS. Fitness mixed with finance, now you're really gonna see us as we're learning, growing. All your minds we're blowing, earning while we're burning. Shirts are tight so gains are showing. Resolve, evolve, absolve, it's time to make a move. Better check yourself, cause if you're doubting, no, we got the proof. Voices speaking loud, cause we're proud about what we can do. Tickling your ears with CPE, rooted in the truth.
And then we'll see Becker on his cap next year, right? When he's taking his press conference, like just Becker right there. So
love that. Mike
Potenza of Becker fame, right? And by the way, Mike, you can take off that tie. This is not one of those. Yeah.
I'm dying here. I thought you'd never say that. I'm dying right here.
Look at that tuft of chest hair. You're so manly. It's all just coming out. No, I'm really excited that you're here. We met. Gosh, where did we met? Where did we meet?
FICPA. We were down in FICPA.
And it was fun. I mean,
that was a good time.
Down in Miami, you got everything that with the Miami Vice. I mean, I think you and I were hitting the clubs, right? Was that right?
You know that.
Carried you back to the hotel room. No, I'm really excited to have you because specifically, I was a Becker graduate, if you will. I'm a Becker alumni, and I passed the test my first time. And the great thing is that I passed the test when we took it in 1 or 2 days, right? When it was a real test, it was like when if you had golf and you said, hey, we're gonna play 4 holes now. And then a month from now, we're going to play another 4 holes. And we're going to play another 4. No, we did the entire thing. You had to walk the entire course. In fact, I had a nosebleed in the middle of one of the sessions.
Too bad.
That's it. They're not going to stop the time for you, right? It was one of those things like I was stressed, and like all of a sudden it went bloop, and I was like, oh my gosh! It's like I got to raise my hand, So they, get out of here. Go take care of that. So I'm out there. I'm leaning over. I'm pinching my nose. I'm like, what in the world, man? I'm stressed out. But no, I passed all 4 at the same time, and I went on my honeymoon. I found out on my honeymoon in Costa Rica. I was like, hey, Mom, Dad, did it come in the mail? Is it a big envelope or is it a small envelope, right? And if it's a big envelope, that's good, right? So I ended up passing, and it was so the CPA license, man. It's like I say, it's the crown jewel of our profession,
yeah.
I think people should, if they have the ability and they're interested in grabbing that credential, go for it,
Yeah, real funny story on, like, you talked about the nosebleed back then. I was in a room where somebody literally had a heart attack on the other side of the room, and there was someone taking the test who was a paramedic. He's like EMS, and he applied CPR. They called 911. They got guy that had the heart attack was fine. They took him out, and I was done my test, and I'm leaving. And as I'm leaving, like at the time limit, I see the guy, and he's like, but I need a little more time. I'm the guy that saved their life. They're like, I'm sorry, we can't do it. That's a true story, no joke. So
that's
very
awful.
Different today. Yeah.
We need to talk to that. We need to get that guy on the show. That's fantastic.
Joke.
It's like, oh, just 5 more minutes, please, please, please. That guy's alive
Exactly.
because of me. No, that's fantastic. So, Mike, I know that a lot of these students that are coming up through, they know of Becker, right? You have your other competitors in the market that are all providing test prep for the CPA exam specifically, and also, I mean, I see you all over LinkedIn congratulating kids all over the place, which is really awesome, by the way. Thank you for taking time to acknowledge these when they pass just one section, but when they get that CPA, you're celebrating. I mean, so tell me what it's like when you see one of your students, and I'll call them your students, when they have achieved that milestone. How do you feel?
It's wild. It is such a good feeling because, you know you're doing something to really help someone get to a whole nother level in their life and create a career, a very lucrative career and a very, safe and secure career that they can establish their families and provide for them. So whenever anybody pings me on LinkedIn and they send me a message, whether it's on their post or whether it's a direct message, I always respond to it. I feel like I want them to know that I am rooting for them so hard because I know, how hard it was. I know how hard it was. But the fact that they persevere and that I could help them along their journey, get through it and make it a little bit easier, I'm really proud of that. But at the same time, I want them to know I'm on your side. And thanks for reaching out to me, letting me know that I made a difference. But you know what? You're making a difference for me too, because I have a job where I get such gratification from knowing I'm helping these people. It's just a home run. And I absolutely love it.
So when you travel around, and you do travel a lot, right? You're all over the nation. At your level of the organization, are you actually instructing in these Becker classes?
Absolutely. So I'm one of the national instructors. So
Okay.
I teach a tremendous amount of the tax. And, there's 2 different tax exams. I'm a computer guy. I'm a tech nerd. So I teach the ISC exam. And I also, teach a lot of the financial accounting. So even though it's like I wear 2 hats, I go around the country promoting Becker, going to conferences, going to firms, going to universities, answering questions, helping people, go down the path of CPA, help motivate them. But the other half, it's pretty cool because I'm teaching still and I'm still in touch with everything. And I really enjoy teaching. That's how I got into it, was just being a teacher. But now I parlayed it into a career where not only do I teach, but I promote the CPA profession. And again, it's just a really rewarding career.
Well, so help me out. Your accent's kind of giving you away. Where do you live right now?
Oh, my accent, you could tell I'm from Oklahoma, right?
Very Midwestern, of course. Yeah, are you up in the Northeast?
Yeah, I'm a New York guy. Grew up in the Bronx, so I'm a diehard New York Yankee fan.
Okay,
if you grow in the Bronx, if you cut my arm, my blood comes out pinstripe. If you can imagine that,
I can't. It's gross.
I live in Yonkers now, which is just north of New York City. But again, just popping all over the place, all over the country. Today, actually, you would never guess where I am today. I am in, for the first time in my life, Mexico City at the Instituto Mexicano de Contadores Públicos, which is the Mexican Institute of Public Accountants. I think I got a little flag here. You can see the flag too, right?
You're an ambassador. You're an ambassador. All of a sudden, I'm really hungry.
Yeah, it's great. So we're working with them as well, trying to get international students, US CPA credentials and certifications, not just CPA, CMA, CIA, EA, a whole bunch of stuff. So, it's a lot of fun.
So interesting, because I thought that Becker was purely CPA oriented. So you do other tests too? Your test preps across, like how far and wide does the Becker go?
Sure. Well, CPA is the biggest, right? Without a doubt. That's what we're known for, about 70 years of teaching CPA. But over the last, 10 plus years, we've really grown. So we have the CMA, the Certified Managerial Accountant exam, with the IMA. We also do, we're a partner with the IIA on the Certified Internal Audit exam. So we do that. And we teach the Enrolled Agent exam for people that, want to be a representative of the IRS and be able to represent clients in front of the IRS. So we do that as well. So we really ventured out, not to mention CPE and a lot of the other stuff we do.
Sure. Wait a second. So there are people that actually want to work for the IRS?
Or at
Oh,
least
zing! Ow, 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 ow. I'm definitely getting audited right
yeah,
now.
yeah. You said that. I didn't say that IRS. I love the IRS. Tim, he's the guy.
Yeah, my name is Flim Fatty. No, I think it's fantastic that you're out there and you're helping with the educational components because and you and I have talked about this probably ad nauseum. It's I'm of the mind that I believe that academia has. I think that they're coming to terms with that they're falling short of their clients, and what I mean by that is that we in academia. So I wear two hats, right? I'm a CFO of the Bananas, but I also teach at SCAD, Savannah College of Art and Design.
Yep.
And I've been teaching inside academia for whether online or on ground for it's almost 20 years now, and I've enjoyed it. I've very much enjoyed being a part of it. I think there's a performance aspect to it. I have jazz hands, I have sparkle fingers, right? And also I just have this demeanor where I just want to call out bullshit when I see it. So,
Yep.
So going into that, I also really appreciate that this is a very technical practice, but that it needs to be made tangible to people who just don't get a lot of the underpinnings just yet. And it's not that anybody's stupid, but I'm not saying that at all. It's just that sometimes it takes a little bit more time for some people to understand like why that principle matters. And when you pull those two together, oh, this makes sense. But when you come out of school, one of the things that really bothers me is that I call it first year shock, right? And by the way, I'm not the one who coined that phrase. There was a nurse back in the 70s who did this study about nurses and why do nurses, specifically nurses, why do they burn out so fast? And what her study came to was that, well, it's because there is no formalized training for nurses. Now, this is back in the 70s, right? Mm-hmm. So you look at them, and they basically like, look, you're responsible for all of these, to know all this information, and you're responsible for having these personal relationship with your patients. And what they were finding is that the nurses were just kind of like they weren't ready for that. Personally, they could handle the interpersonal relationships, but then marrying all that technical information too, it was like the learning curve was so steep that nurses were just burning out. And so from her studies, it actually turned into, oh, we need to do externships, like 9-month externships. And so all nursing programs have a period where it's very similar to medical programs. It's not a residency per se, but you have to complete some kind of externship, in order for you to get your nursing degree and or license, right? And so there's certain clinical hours that you have to achieve. And so, but in the accounting world, you don't have to do that. In the legal world, actually, you don't have to do that. But in the medical world, in fact, even in the engineering world, you don't have to do that. So only in all the, I'll call them the professional, the white collar jobs, right? The ones that are traditionally billed by the hour, essentially. The only one of those practices that actually has a step into your profession is the medical field. And so you look at the accountants, you look at lawyers, and you look at engineers, professional engineers, and these are all people who understand their craft, at least academically. They understand what's in the textbooks. They understand the math. They understand why things are doing what they're doing, but they don't know actually how to apply it in real life. Because when you're in that academic setting, you have it's targeted to give you. Let's be honest. It's targeted so that the tenured professor doesn't have to change how they've been teaching it for the last 20 years, right?
Sure.
And so the question is that if it hasn't changed in 20 years, a lot of stuff has changed in the industry in 20 years. So why do we keep teaching it this way? And so so what happens is you have these students that are running into. They're getting their degrees. They're going into practice, and far be it from me to say this has changed. But when I graduated in 2000 from the University of Florida, I had my master's degree and my CPA license, and I didn't know what the heck I was doing. Mm-hmm. I can only imagine now that this test has been stretched out to 18. I think it's 24 months. Is it 24 months to finish it?
Oh, but now 30 actually.
30 months. Mm-hmm. So now you're at 30 months. So you're actually graduating with a bachelor's degree, right? And you're in practice. Like even public accounting is hiring bachelor's degree people. And so you're wondering, like, wait a second, What's changed here? So now you have someone who has a bachelor's level, and they're probably taking maybe an online class to finish their master's level now, right? And so they're actually working in, and they don't know anything. And they haven't taken the CPA exam yet, right? They're now studying after a really long day. Now they have to study 2-3 hours to keep up with the rigors of the CPA test, which is a very hard test.
Oh, yeah.
For a reason. But everybody outside that firm, the instant they see the logo on that person's shirt or on their backpack or on their laptop, they instantly think that's a CPA. Mm-hmm. That person knows what they're talking about. I'm going to ask them tax questions. I'm going to ask them this question. And so, but they're not partners. But everybody outside thinks they're a partner. Mm-hmm. And so what I've seen happen is that academia has really fallen short. And again, I point the finger in at me because I'm part of the problem. Is that if we continue to put a product out into the market, just go to any industry. We put a product into the market that's 80% complete. Heck, I'll give you 90% complete. Would anybody else, would you buy a car that only had 3 wheels?
Exactly.
It's like, no, you wouldn't. You want the whole thing. Like so I think what's happening is that we've succumbed to allowing academia to push these people out into the real world, so that because academia says, well, the real learning happens on the job. Yeah, you're right. It does, 100%. However, you should at least be able to prepare them to understand what that real job looks like, right? And so,
absolutely.
And so what ends up happening when they want to go back and get their CPA license, right? Because this was 150-hour rules coming down. States are they're falling down like walls of Jericho, man. Boom, 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 boom. Now they need to catch up to all of this information that's going to be on that test. So the question is, where do they go to get it? Who's gonna bridge that gap? And that's where Becker comes in and goes, I'll bridge the gap. Bonk, there you are, right?
Absolutely.
So talk about that. Talk about how these kids, they're coming out of school, they're not prepared, but they're taking the class, they're using it as supplemental education, and now they're like in this void.
Yeah. So I'll tell you, you hit on something about we needed 150 credit hours to get a CPA license for the last few decades, but now, yes, most states are dropping it down to 120, but they're saying, well, before we give you your CPA license, we're going to require a second year of experience. With 150, you only need 1 year of experience. With 120, you need 2 years. So I get that, yes, and to your point, you're kind of learning on the job. But let me tell you something. When you're trying to study for this exam and you're trying to learn on the job, and God, what if you have a family, things like that, it's crazy. I remember when I was going through it, I told my girlfriend, I was like, listen, you're not going to see me for a year. So if you got to break up with me, I get it. But this is going to take me a long time to get through it. But it'll be worth it if you hang around, because at the end of the day, then we'll get a little bit of a payday here. All right. So what we're doing is, like, when I go around to the different firms and universities and I'm talking to these kids that are going through the process, and I'm getting a lot of freshmen and sophomore too, I'm telling them, hey, this is going to be challenging, especially if you don't go for that extra 30 credits. Because when you go for a master's, you go through that MAC program, you're really focusing on hardcore advanced topics that you're going to see on the exam. Now, I get it. There are some people that say, Mike, I can't afford an extra year, or I have to start making money. I have to provide for my family. Those are real world decisions you have to make. And I get it. So you start working early, but you don't have those extra 30 credit hours. So that makes it harder. So what are you doing? Well, what you should be doing is, when you're in school, you should be looking for the internships, right? Forget the summer that I want to go and backpack around Europe. You'll have time to do that, okay? If you could get an internship and start to learn about the real world as you're doing it, it makes all the difference in the world. So that's something we tell them. The other thing we tell them is, when you're in school, when you're in that senior year, start studying for your exam in that senior year if you can. Because, listen, senior year, a lot of times you have a lighter load of classes. Sure. So if you could knock off 1 or 2 parts, by the time you go for your real job and you have 1 or 2 parts knocked out of the way, so much easier than to pass those other parts. So it's just trying to give them some real world advice, and not only about the internships, not only about studying when you're in school, but about time management when you're actually working and you're studying for the exam, where do you find, like you said, where do you find those 2 or 3 hours a day to study? How do you manage your time on weekends? So we have some videos as well that we really try to help people understand what's required of them in order to get in enough time, because if you don't put in enough time, you're not passing that exam. I don't care how smart you are, right? You have to put in the time. So between all of those things, we try to, like you say, bridge that gap between school and job and figure out how to cross that CPA bridge.
Yeah, and I think that Becker specifically, I enjoyed the program when I was in it. It was instructor-led, but had the materials in front of you. I'm pretty sure it's very similar. It's probably a lot more technology-based now, but I remember we would meet in at the Sheraton Hotel Gainesville in one of the ballrooms, and we'd have there's all of my students and some students from people from around the city who were also studying while they're working. And then there's some concepts in there that were a little bit easier than others. Like I was never a tax person. It was oh gosh, tax is the worst. In fact,
I'm a tax guy here. Hold on here.
All I needed was a 75, right? You did four tests. All you needed is a 75, and I got that 75 in tax. So it was done. Yeah, but I think it's from the standpoint of what you guys provide. There's definitely a need for it, and also it's not just when the kids are coming right out of school, because usually that's the time when they want to sit for the exam. But it's also there's the I would say the younger professionals who have been in accounting for a little while, and they say, hey, I think I want a little bit of a career change. I want to step up my game, upskill, right? And so now. They're looking around to, hey, how do I get that extra credential? How do I get that CMA, that CPA, that CIA, what have you? Or is it IIA? So in the case and all that, do you have experienced people coming to Becker to say, hey, how do I level up?
Without a doubt. So everybody that teaches for Becker, they've been in the industry, they've kind of lived this, and they've walked the walk, they talk the talk. So we really give a lot of presentations, and again, a lot of them are virtual. We go to all the different firms, and we even are available for people email us directly, or like you said, hit me up on LinkedIn with all of these questions. So we try to really give advice wherever they can, because these are big decisions. And I get it all the time, Mike. I'm working in accounting. I don't know if I want to be in public accounting the rest of my life. Do I really need to get a CPA if I think I want to go work for a corporation somewhere else? And that's one of the biggest questions. And I tell people the same thing all the time. You don't understand this CPA, what value it has for you. Even if you don't want to stay in public accounting, it's okay. You know why? Because if you have a CPA, and Tim, you live this as well, right? With what you do professionally, people know you understand the language of business, right? And that's the Oracle of Omaha, right? Warren Buffett. He's the guy, and he would say, listen, I want to deal with CPAs because I know they understand the language of business. And there's so much involved with it, between how the financial statements interact with each other, how we analyze these statements, whether we're going to value a company, and again, tying it into the tax work, cash flow. These are all things we do as a CPA. So when there's a big corporation that wants to hire a CFO or even a CEO, where are they looking? They're looking for the people that know the language of business. And when they see those letters CPA after your name, when you apply for a job, your resume goes from the bottom or the middle of the pile way up to the top, because they know you understand the language of business. And this credential will pay for itself literally 1,000 times over.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And it's as I've walked through this CFO circles, so I'm a member of several CFO organizations, and one of the things I learned very quickly, I was having this conversation with Mike Deprisco, who is the CEO of the Institute of Management Accounting, right? And what I found interesting is that while I'm in these CFO circles, I'm always coming at it from the standpoint of an accountant, right? It's a CPA, and I had to learn very quickly that, there are CFOs out there that don't have accounting degrees, which again, it's neither here nor there. It's just I'm used to speaking and interpreting data in a particular manner. When I'm confronted with somebody who has like a finance degree, okay, we're in the same general vicinity, but I have the understanding of the rules and the parameters through which they operate, right? So one of the biggest things that I see that's out there is, and again, I'll go back to LinkedIn. I kind of beat up on LinkedIn a lot over here because I'm constantly looking at what the conversations are, specifically around CFOs and VPs of finance and things like that, because that's where I live. That's the level that I'm at. And but I'm also curious because there's a lot of controllers. I have friends that are at the level that's what's one below, and they're looking to they're aspiring to get to that next level, the executive level, right? And so they're looking at, hey, how do I get into that seat? Maybe not at this company, but maybe a different company. How do I get there? And one of the things that has been coming across loud and clear, and I want to get your opinion on this, is when you have when finance people, let's just say this. There is an argument that is racing around LinkedIn, and it's about accounting is looking in the past, and finance is looking into the future, and nary do the two do the other, right? And I'm like, what in the world are you talking about? You're thinking about financial reporting. Financial reporting looks in the past, and yeah, we're basically glorified historians. But there's so many other things to do in accounting. It's like you said, the management accounting. You think management accountants are worried about what just happened yesterday? They're making sure that machine that's making the widgets is still running. How do you do that? You look in the future. Do we need to check its oil? Do we need to make sure that the Bob's going to show up and do the maintenance? I mean, that's future looking, right? And so it's really funny because finance people, it's like they sit there and they're like, we look in the future, and you guys are just the past. And then of course you take the FP&A people, and you get like, where do we fit? Oh no, we have accounting, we have a finance. Like I just want to be part of the party. And it's like, what is going on here? Why is everybody starting to fraction out all our profession? It makes no sense to me. But finance people, man, this is a hill they're going to die on. It's like they were born with a crystal ball in their hand or something. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it is crazy. I mean, I will say this all the time because, as someone who went through an education in accounting, but took a lot of finance classes, but then I have my friends that are all finance majors and stuff. They're like, I don't need that accounting stuff. Basically, they were saying, oh, the accounting's a little too hard for me, so I'm going to just stick with my finance stuff, But what I tell people all the time is this. Listen, we know people have great careers in finance. They can make a lot of money in finance, as can you in accounting. But, what's the difference? And why to your point, do I feel that accounting gives you so much more value? Because right now, for the last 20 years, this young professional cohort of people that are working, they've not lived through a major recession, right? We lived through it in the 90s and early 2000s and stuff. And unfortunately, what happens in a lot of that? Finance people lose their job. You're in your late 30s, your 40s, making a whole lot of money, and now all of a sudden the economy crashes, the market crashes. We don't need as many finance people, right? We don't have as much money to pay them, so they lose jobs, and it's very difficult to find the jobs. And where do they go? They try to find the jobs at the accounting firms when that happens, but they can't get those jobs either.
Because the accountants have them.
Exactly. I mean, the moral of the story is, when you have that accounting background with all that financial understanding, you have so much more safety and security than someone who's just operating in the financial world. Because again, like I said, you haven't seen it because you haven't seen what it's like to live in a major recession. But when you do, you'll understand, hey, the accountants still have to perform. They still have jobs. We still need them, where a lot of the financial jobs will disappear for 2 or 3 years before they come back again. And now what do you do in that situation? So for me, I think everyone that gets that background, that foundation in the accounting, and you want to parlay it and go work into finance, more power to you.
Absolutely.
Be a CFO. But that's going to pay dividends for you when things really kind of go south or when the economy's not so good. You're going to be in so much better shape.
Yeah, so I think when we were on your podcast, and I think I shared the story with you, but I want to reiterate it here. I had a conversation with a gentleman. My phone number is out there. I answer the phone. If you shoot me a text message, say, hey, it's so and so, I have a question about this, I'm probably going to give you a call back because that's just the type of person I am, especially if it's accounting and especially if you're a student, because my goal is that I really have a heart for this 7-year window between a junior at the university and 5 years into your professional career. And why is that? Because in that particular 7 years, if you are so blessed to have one, maybe two great mentors who can steer you in the right direction, it can change your life. And so from my perspective, I look at this like I think that's my job. My job is to make sure that these younger professionals who are coming up, who are looking up this ladder saying, how do I get to where he is, that I can go, okay, step one, be so bold as to take that first step, right? Here's how we're going to do this. Well, the conversation I was having with this gentleman, he was actually a freshman. He's going to Drexel, the Drexel Dragons, right? The Dragons. And he said, and so I did not know who he was. And he said, a friend of mine said that I could call you and ask questions. Like, yeah, dude, what's up? So I was just driving. I was actually driving through Virginia at the time. And so I said, what's on your mind? He goes, well, you know, I'm a freshman at Drexel. I'm trying to figure out what I want to do. I've been told that I've been told that I need to get like a degree in like technology and whatever that and all that goes. So I think I'm going to go and like it's not decision information sciences anymore. It's like data analytics or something like that, right? And I said, and so I kind of let him peter out and let him tell me what he was doing. And I said, okay, so may I speak now, right? It's like, are you finished? Okay, so I'm going to tell you stuff. I'm going to tell you some things that you may like and you may not like, but I'm just going to give you the God's honest truth of where I think if you're asking me what you should do and you're a freshman, which means you're starting off right now, then hear me. I think if you, I started off with, you want to go get a data analytics degree. Not sure who told you to do that, but you want to be in data analytics. That's cool. Data analytics is really neat. There's a lot of opportunity out there in data analytics. I said, let's say you spend the next 5 years and you go get your master's in information sciences. I said, do you use AI? He's like, well, yeah, everybody uses AI. Okay. So do you think AI is pretty good? He's like, oh yeah, it's really good. I said, did you know that AI didn't exist when I had MIS and DIS in my school? But you know, it was a career that you could go to. It's like you could do accounting, finance, MIS, right? MIS, DIS was a big thing then. I said, in 5 years from now, when you're graduating with an MIS degree, do you think AI could do your job better than you? And the line went silent. I was like, hello? He's like, well, yeah, I mean, I think it may. I said, okay, so I said, don't, just hear me out. What if you went to school and got an accounting degree and you hear on the other side of the line, right? It's like, I said, hold on, bear with me. What if you got an accounting degree and then get the bachelor's in accounting and then go get a master's in sports analytics, data analytics, whatever matrix reading thing you want to do? Do you know what's going to happen for you? One, accounting's not going to change. AI is not taking over the accounting industry. Sure, it's going to help us. It's going to take some of those lower level tasks off there, maybe some higher level tasks at some point. Who cares? Because they're still going to need humans to do it. Ever since the monks were doing it way back when,
oh yeah,
they're still going to need. Accounting is a human interaction, and it's a language like what you were talking about earlier. It's not just math. You have to be able to interpret it and communicate what you're talking about. And that's done on a very human level. I said, so if you get this accounting degree and then you go off and you could get a master's in theater, live theater. It doesn't matter. The point is that when you walk into a room and everybody knows you have the accounting degree, guess who's not the sucker in the room? You. Because the marketing person sitting there and the entertainment person sitting there and they all know you know the numbers. And guess what? When you get out into business, it's all about the numbers. So if you understand how to communicate those numbers and then you go into data analytics, you're a triple threat, man. You know the numbers, you know the data, and now you know how to communicate that stuff. You can bridge the gap for how does this data actually be relevant to the budget, because it's all about money. It's all about the money.
Yeah.
We had the conversation went on about another 15 minutes, and I said, listen, don't make this the last time we talk, because I want to know, you know, a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, I would love to hear that you're graduating with your bachelor's in accounting. But if you don't do it, that's okay. Just understand that if you're asking me what I think you should do, this is what I would tell my sons if they were asking, Dad, what should I do? So, yeah, this is me imparting wisdom from a loving father to you. I have no idea who you are.
I'll tell you, you kind of struck a nerve with me here because I have 3 daughters, and my middle daughter Yeah. Why do you
I'm
think
sure
I have no
we're
hair on
all
my head?
princesses.
I had a full head of hair before they were born. That's all I could say, if that's enough. But my middle one, she's super sharp, and she has been a computer programmer, since like middle school, basically. And people always come to me, they're like, "Oh, Mike, I don't think accountants start off with as high a starting salary as some of these other professions, and computer science, and they start off so much higher and everything." And I tell them, listen, salaries are coming up, believe me, and they have come up tremendously in the last few years.
Great job, Big Four, for leading the way on that. I'm so excited.
100%. But I say, but on top of that, you can't just look at the starting salary. You got to look, a couple of years into it, 3 years into it, 5 years, 10 years, and all of a sudden, what accounting salaries do. I mean, they jump up there, especially you become a partner in a firm or something.
Sure.
Forget it. But anyway, so my daughter now applying to college. And I'm trying to tell her, I'm like, accounting is so great. I love it. It could do so many things just like you did. And what did she do? She went the computer science route. And then boom, all of a sudden, junior year now, all the jobs are drying up and the AI is really taking over. And yes, you still need some people who can check the AI, program the AI and do all that. But again, it's a fraction of what they needed. That's an industry that's really gotten hit hard. But to your point, in accounting, people are like, oh, they're going to take my accounting jobs. That's the farthest thing from the truth. Like you just said, if you can't understand what AI is doing and explain to your clients what it means and interpret everything for them and communicate, the AI is never doing that for you. They need the human being to do it. And that's why this is so valuable for us. And even in this age of AI and analytics, that accounting foundation, that is going to serve you well through the course of an entire career.
Yeah, I just read an article the other day on CFO.com, and they were talking specifically about how half the time, whatever the survey, whoever, I forget the research, but half the time spent on AI is fixing the errors that come out of AI. So really think about that. I use ChatGPT every day. I love it. I think it's fantastic. And people go, oh, you need to use Grok, you need to use this. It's like ChatGPT and we have a relationship. We're fine. I don't get involved in the politics or the fact that it's like sucking the energy out of the earth. Who cares? It's great for me. So, but I look at this and I say, yeah, you're right. Because when I ask it, let's say I ask it to help me with a legal document, right? And I know lawyers everywhere are like, no, but yeah, lawyers, get ready, man. AI is coming for your job. AI, Esquire. But I'll get a legal document, and then I'll have to look through it. And it's like, okay, this looks good, but that kind of looks a little strange to me. Now I have experience in reading legal documents, but what I do is I have a starting point. Then I look at it, it's like, yeah, that's kind of strange. Hey, read you the prompt. Oh, hey, we need you to fix this. Oh, yeah, it's a little bit off. So you finally get the document to where you are. Now you're 90% of the way down the path, and then you take it to the general counsel and say, hey, I've got this document. Can you just review this and make sure we're good? And they're like, yeah, a couple of the red line. Okay, they fix it. Now it's been reviewed by an actual attorney, and now you have the legal document. It's not that I tried to replace my lawyer, but you know what it did? It saved me about $1,500.
Easy.
Right?
Easy.
So, but the interesting thing is about the AI is that when you're popping in those prompts, especially if you're trying to use it inside an accounting context, it'll give you some forecasts and everything, and it's very good at the math. But the problem is that sometimes it makes certain assumptions that you did not feed it. It just goes, oh, I've had a conversation with you over the last 6 months. I think I know where you want to go with this. Like I was talking about, we had a conversation about not-for-profits. We had a conversation about music and this stuff. All of a sudden, it's making assumptions off those conversations you had. Is going, oh, you want it to go this way? Like, no, I just wanted you to give me what it would look like if I did right? So even AI, you need the human to come in and go, that just doesn't look right. We need to fix that. So it comes down to, and we come kind of full circle back to the human. What is it about accounting that makes accounting so special inside the framework of our economy? It comes down to professional judgment. Professional judgment cannot be done by a computer, because there's emotions, there's empathy, there's technicals, there's all these pieces that come into understanding this issue, and you have to look across the table to other humans and say, I think this is the way you should go. Considering all the factors that I've heard and know and have seen, all the research, what have you, I think this is the way we should go. And you look at somebody across the table and they go, okay, let's do it. I trust you. Not that I don't trust the computer. I trust you. And that's why accounting matters. It will always be a people person first exercise or discipline. And I think as long as the kids, students understand this, then they can see that, oh, no. If I get that accounting degree, I don't have to do taxes. I don't have to do a spreadsheet ever after school. But I could go do what I really love. I could go be a forest ranger, right? But understand when there's cost cutting coming, guess who they're not going to get rid of? You, because you have other skills that other than being able to look at bear poop and know what berries they ate.
I love to tell the story about my cousin who was about a few years younger than me, but was an accountant and put in his time, got his CPA, and he's like, busy seasons, I just don't like them anymore. I'm done with it. I don't even want to be a partner in a firm. And I'm like, all right, well, listen, you have a great skill set. Figure out what you love to do. Do you know where his office is right now? It is in Madison Square Garden because he works for the NHL and he does their accounting. And he's a big Ranger fan. Like if he wants to go to any game, he walks out of his office and he goes to one of his seats and he sits there and does it. It is wild. It is wild. So I tell people like, if I was, 18 inches taller, I could have been a professional athlete. But the fact that I'm vertically challenged, that's not happening, But listen, there's a lot of people in that position. If they want to go work like you work for the Savannah Bananas or go work for Major League or NFL or whatever you want to do, everybody needs accountants, right?
Yes.
Even, people say, well, I wanted to, be a police officer, but I was a little bit afraid. Well, you're an accountant. You could go work for the FBI and carry a gun because they just eat up accountants. They need that, right? And just between fraud and paper trail and white collar crimes, there's so much stuff they can do. And then my last buddy, he loves cars. He works for Ferrari and he works in the accounting department for Ferrari. And he's like, I get to drive these things all the time. He's like, I'm going to own one soon. Not yet, but I mean, there's just so many things you can do with that accounting degree. Any business needs them.
Yeah, on the way up, from Savannah to Alpharetta, which is where our studios are here at the Georgia site of CPAs, I passed the Porsche. There's a Porsche dealership. It's like a raceway, right? So and you can actually drive on their raceways, and so it's the first time I've actually driven by and I've actually seen people on the track, and I was like, I just wanted to pull over and watch because that there's people inside the Porsche. Those Porsches, they're just random people who's like, hey, I want to feel what it feels like to take a hairpin turn at 95 miles per hour, just really bearing into that corner, right? But it was fun to see that because you could see that people were the car was slow, and then all of a sudden it just took off, right? I'm thinking, oh, someone's having the day of their life right now. But think about that. If you are really into Harley Davidsons, if you're really into shooting, you're into whatever your passion is. If you go get an accounting degree, it doesn't mean you give up that passion. It just means that you are now better prepared to not only do your passion, but also understand the underpinnings of the business that creates that shotgun, that creates that F1 vehicle, whatever it is. And what I think is it's also a way that allows you to get into places. So one of the hardest places to get into is sports, okay? Sports is very difficult to get into. You have to know somebody, or you have to start at the bottom and just kind of work your way up, right? With accounting, it's one of the easiest ways to get into sports. Because and what's ended up happening is that there's all these people that are going out and getting sports management degrees. Well, there are a dime a dozen these days. It's like I love these kids. They have great energy, but there's a ton of sports management kids. So what is setting you apart, right? If you have an accounting degree and say a sports management, let's say a sports management minor, right? You still get best of both worlds, but they're going to look at you for the accounting degree. Once you're in accounting, once you get into the finance department, you can go anywhere you want to go. All you got to do is pierce the veil, and now you're in sports. Now you can look at the entire horizon and say, I want to work at the PGA, I want to work for F1, I want to work for, name it, and you can do it. That's what I keep telling these students. They're like, well, I just don't want to do taxes. Like, why in the world do you think it's all about taxes? I know we're talking about CPA licenses, but CPA licenses, yes, you can do taxes. You can sign off on the dotted line just like that accountant can't. But just because you're a CPA doesn't mean you have to go that route. There's so many other places to go. So live your dream, but man, those first 4 years, go get that degree.
That's it.
You will always have a job. Always.
You know, and another true story here. My buddy's daughter graduated college in accounting and analytics a couple of years back. It was the year, you remember, the Atlanta Braves last won the World Series. So this is a while back.
Wasn't that when Freddie was still on the team?
And their minor league team won the minor league World Series in the same year. And she worked between the accounting department, between both. She has a World Series ring from the Braves and from their minor league team. They gave her one. I was so aggravated. I was like, what? She's just out of college a year and she got that?
Because these rings don't even fit her fingers, right? They're just like,
oh my God, right. But and listen, the other thing that you said too is that it's not just auditing and tax. Like we hear that all the time. I don't want to be an accountant. I don't like to audit. I don't want to do tax. I'm going to sit in a cubicle in a spreadsheet. First of all, nobody sits in cubicles and just stares at spreadsheets anymore, right? We're on the phone with clients and communicating all the time. But now, like advisory and consulting is so big. People come to us, whether it's in technology, whatever it is. Yeah, you're not going to know it when you first start, but you're going to learn a lot of this on the job. And you could do so many different things. I mean, besides that, like I said, the white collar crime, the fraud, the risk management, you know, it's just so many different avenues you could go down. Sustainability. You want to, you know, people say, oh, he's a tree hugger, right? Well, you want to do green stuff now for companies? Go down that sustainability road. There's so many different paths you can go in accounting, not even mentioning going out and talking about all these other great businesses you can go into.
Well, you know, here's the other thing. So a lot of students, specifically Americans, okay, because Americans, we have a lot of opportunity over here, but there is a lot of international opportunity for Americans to be expats elsewhere and actually apply that accounting knowledge. So certainly from a CPA perspective, a chartered accountant perspective, you know, the equivalency in the international scene. But accounting is accounting is accounting is accounting. Now, some fundamental rules may change from U.S. GAAP to maybe you know, international accounting standards, but the fundamentals are the same. Debit, credit, you know, right, left, whatever it is. In the case of Wealth Box, green, orange. But the point is that there is when I was first, so I started off at PwC. I ended up going to Deloitte. Had about 4.5 years inside the Big Four. When I was leaving Deloitte, this is right around 2004, 2005-ish, right? I was looking at. I was like, look, I want to work offshore. I am really interested in this whole offshore stuff. By the way, I just achieved my certified fraud examiner designation. So you're right. You say fraud, and I'm just saying, it's like the hair gets up my neck because I love the criminology side. It's so awesome. Catching bad guys, right? And you could do that with accounting. And so I wanted to go work at like you know, maybe Bermuda or the Bahamas or Grand Cayman, right? There are opportunities out there for young people who are single. If you're not single, if you're married, then you and your spouse has to have some kind of they'll still accept you, but they have to have, because the islands are so small, they have to have a job that's required for that. So like in my case, my wife is a nurse. It's like, oh yeah, medical people, yeah, bring them on, right? So the only reason why I couldn't do it though is because I had children. And so they said, hey, if it was just you and your wife, you'd be in. But because you have a child, it's like there's only so much room on the island. And what they do is they ask you to come out for 2 years at a time. So that, because if you're out there for at least 2 years, you get the tax benefit of not paying income taxes while you're out on the island, right?
Sure.
But you're still working for you're working for big banks, Big Four, all these major institutions who just don't want to park their money. They don't want to pierce the U.S. corporate veil and have all their money taken out, you know, for taxes. So, but it's just as exciting. It's like international. You ever want to be a James Bond? That's how you do it. But you have to have either a law degree or an accounting degree to do that. They don't just take willy-nilly finance degrees, because you have to be like really niche in order to get on a. But if you have a CPA license and 3 years of experience, that entire world is open to you. And I'm talking, if you want to go even over to the English Channel, there's 2 tiny little islands in the English Channel called Jersey and Guernsey. Look them up. And so they are the equivalent of the Bermudas, the Grand Caymans. In fact, even Hong Kong is considered offshore. And so you look at all these opportunities out there that all start with just getting that accounting degree. And again, you don't even have to have the CPA license to do it. If you do, great, feather in your cap. But just to get the accounting degree so that they know that you know what you're talking about. And then your world just blows open for you. So many opportunities.
So if I could add to that, so we think about all the things, all the career opportunities we've been talking about, whether it's for a major accounting firm, or now you're talking about going around the world, offshoring at big banks, big companies, so much stuff. But one thing we didn't even talk about, that if you want to do this and you have an accounting degree, it is going to make it so much easier. How many people want to just go work for themselves, start their own business, right? I ran my own business for 20 plus years, and I never would have been able to do it if I did not have my accounting background. Because if you don't understand the numbers, you don't understand the finance, you don't understand the accounting, that business is never going to make it.
It's very difficult, yes.
Or you're going to be paying an accountant a lot of money to do all of this stuff for you. And that's not easy to do when you first start out. So that's advice I give to people. A lot of people aspire to own their own business, start their own business, and it's great. And it is so rewarding. But if you have that accounting background, that really makes it a reality to be able to do something like that.
And you know, when you're doing that, it doesn't mean you have to start an accounting firm. It just means like if you want to go sell hammers, it's like, okay, you want to do a hardware store? Good for you. But you need the accounting degree because, or like you said, you either invest in yourself and grow your skills, or you're going to be buying somebody else's skills, right? So just do it yourself, and then the sky's the limit, man. You could have your own G6 someday.
That's it. That's it.
Popping them bottles, you know. I think that's how they do it. Never been in a G6. Right. No, I think there's just so much opportunity out there, and it's you know, I know we started off with this Becker CPA and learning about the CPA exam, but really it comes down to accounting as a discipline is just one of those. It's just one of those diamonds in the rough that if you can see the future, if you looked at as a crystal ball and you said, what should I do? This is the one place that you look inside that crystal ball and there's doors that fly open. And that's what I've always told my boys growing up that, hey, listen, at some point in your future, you want to start closing doors because you want to start really narrowing in on maybe a professional niche or something like that. But in the very beginning, try to make decisions that broaden your appeal so that more doors are open to you, more opportunities are open to you, because you never know which door you really want to go. You might step through a door and go, yeah, this is not for me. Back out of that door. It's like, I'm going to go this way, right? And you can with an accounting degree. If you have a finance degree, again, not pooping on finance people, but finance, you're working in finance. I mean, that's unless you get really lucky and someone says, hey, go milk the cows. Which, by the way, farmers need accounting. Like one chicken, two chicken, three chicken, four. But what I'm getting at here is that it really doesn't matter what you want to do if you have that foundation in accounting. Everybody takes you seriously, and that's the whole point. When you walk into the room, people go, "That guy knows his stuff. That girl knows his stuff. I can't get it past them. I'm going to have to treat them and respect them for what they know. And oh, by the way, they also know more than just accounting. They know about entertainment. They know about music. They know about farming. They know all these different things. So you just have people that are walking around. It's like, okay, bring it. I know you. Yeah, this is great. Bring it.
The three terms I always throw out about it, you just hit every one of them. Accounting, stability, flexibility, credibility, right? And you don't get that in a lot of other professions. And we didn't even throw in there about what an ethical profession accounting is on top of it. The cornerstone of our profession is that the general public knows when we say something, they can believe us. Because I know when I hear certain attorneys tell me things, I'm like, really? I don't know if that's really true. But it is built into our DNA that when we say something, we put our name there, and the general public has to be able to rely on us. Otherwise, our markets are going to crash, right? And it's just such a noble profession on top of all of these other superlatives we described about accounting.
Yeah, I think that when you really get down to it, the accounting degree in and of itself is certainly it's a springboard into something wonderful. And even if you go and follow your dreams, and that dream just kind of peters out for whatever reason, right? you still have the ability to, again, take a step back. If you need 6 months, 9 months, 12 months of just a job, you go work at a tax shop, just to have some money, just to kind of keep you going, take care of your family. You can get that job because you have the accounting degree, right? And then you kind of figure out where you want to go. It's like, okay, hey, thank you so much for the time. I'm going to go follow my dream over here, right? It's a way to constantly have that. I hate to say safety net, but it's almost like a safety net. It's a professional safety net because you can always fall back on public accounting, on just being in some kind of accounting capacity. Even if you never want to do it, you can always do it, right? So it allows you that, like you said, flexibility and safety to say, okay, I'm going to pivot. I don't really know what I want to do, but I don't want to do this anymore. I'm just going to come back here. I'm going to just kind of bake in this area, and then okay, I think I know what I want to do now. Boom, you're gone.
Yep, and you know what they say. You never see an accountant on the unemployment line, right? That's the name of the game.
That's true. So, okay, back to Becker. When we're talking, we're looking at the CPA exam. We're looking at the success rates of your students, right? Brag on yourself for a second, because I'm really, I'm a product of the Becker system. I thought it was a fantastic system when I was going through it, and like I said, I passed it the first time because of Becker and the materials that you've provided me. So, why Becker? If I'm a student, or if I'm just someone who's looking at taking the CPA or the CMA or the CIA, whatever it is, why should I choose Becker over the other things that are out there?
Well, basically, you want to do it once, and you want to do it right. So
that's the greatest answer on the planet.
I mean, what we do is we track our pass rates very closely, and these are self-reported by our students. We don't make them up. We have the hard numbers on it, and we compare them to what the AICPA publishes. And if you take a look at the Becker pass rates versus the non-Becker pass rates, we're passing it at double the average of the national average. I mean, it's wild what we're doing. And not only that, and this is a great way that you can tell, the AICPA, not Becker, the AICPA every year issues what's called the Elijah Watts Sells Award winner. And that's for anybody who passes all 4 parts of the exam in 1 year with a score of 95.5 or higher, if you can imagine that. So Becker, over the last 20 years, has had over 90% of all Watts Sells winners. So we don't make that up. Our material works, and it works really well if you follow our material. Like when there are, call it 11 Watts Sells winners in a year, 10 of them out of 11 are Becker students. It's incredible if you think about it. And again, that's from the AICPA. So we know our material works, and it works well if you follow our plan. It's not like you could enroll in Becker and then just put your feet up on the desk and smoke a cigar all day and think, hey, I'm going to pass this. Right? Yeah, exactly.
Hey.
You got to put the time in, right? You got to put the energy and the effort in. But if you do put in the energy and the effort, you know that there's more likely than not an excellent chance you're going to pass each of these exams every time that you take them, because the success rates, they kind of speak for themselves. And then the last thing I'm going to tell you about this, you mentioned a good friend of yours that you talk to every day, ChatGPT, right? Well,
he's my guy.
Yeah, he's your guy. Everybody loves ChatGPT. Who doesn't? But you know, I'll tell you who shouldn't love ChatGPT. People who are prepping for the CPA exam, and here's why.
Interesting, okay.
And let me tell you why. A lot of people put in questions or explain this to me, or how do you solve this problem? And ChatGPT gives you an answer that looks beautiful. Now, we do know that AI, ChatGPT, all of them, they will hallucinate from time to time.
Yeah, they do.
It's a much greater, it's actually over 20% with the counting questions. Why? Because ChatGPT, there's a lot of blueprints from the AICPA, and it looks at all of them. There's a lot of tax regulations, and some of them are outdated, and it's looking at all of them. It doesn't really know, it hasn't learned yet what's the latest and the greatest one. So what we did at Becker is we have the exact same technology, the LLM, large language models and all of that, and it's built into our program, but we control, it's private, it's closed, exactly where it looks. So it only looks at the current blueprint, the current tax laws, the current gap, everything. So our hallucination rate is called Newt. I don't know if you know who started Becker. Newt Becker started Becker.
Awesome.
And we named our AI after Newt so he could live on forever. And our hallucination rate is under 2%. It rarely hallucinates. And we're the only program out there that has AI built into its course. And you know what's also great about it? I'm in Mexico right now. I told you, in Mexico City with the Mexican AI CPA, basically. You could put a question into our new AI and say, explain this to me in Spanish. And it does it in Spanish.
Are you serious?
I swear to God, it is
That's awesome.
amazing. It could do just about any major language out there, and it could do. And you could say, "Explain it to me in Spanish, like I am 5 years old," and it will do it. To you. And you can say, "And make every word rhyme." And it will do it for you. There's nowhere else out there that has this kind of technology in CPA review. And we average over 1 million hits a week. So we've been out about 3 months with this technology now, and we're at like 15 million hits with it. It's
wow. I want to play with this. So here's also something that I thought was really cool. And when I took it, now this is back in 1999, 2000. But when I took the Becker course, because I paid for the course, not just the materials, I paid for the actual course. You guys had a guarantee that if you did not pass the test on the first time, that you could actually come back and we could actually go through the parts that we did not pass gratis. That we could come, like once we were in the Becker family, we're in the Becker family. Do you guys still have that kind of guarantee?
It's even better. Now,
oh, wow.
Here's what it is now. Now you have unlimited access until you pass. So even if you don't pass, you're always going to be part of the Becker family. But on top of it, we have a money back guarantee or a refund of your exam fee for if you don't pass it. So if you get what we call EDR, exam day ready, which means you've gone through our entire course.
And there's a green check marks, green check marks.
Right, that's exactly right.
Got it.
Then they reimburse the fees for the exam. Yeah, it's in there. So we really believe in the product and we stand by the product. So now we say, all right, forget about expiring in 2 years or 3 years. You can have it forever. And if you don't pass and you become exam day ready, we'll give you a certain amount of a refund.
Wow, that's fantastic. I mean, I didn't know that you guys had added that. That kind of leaves a little bit more on the table that says, hey, they're in it with me.
Exactly.
Which is the reason why you celebrate when you see people on LinkedIn say, "Hey, I got my CPA license here." Another girl woman who's holding her CPA license, and she say, "Check this out," and you're like, "Yes, you did it. You got it." By the way, when you do that, since I follow you on LinkedIn, I don't know if you noticed this or not, but I'll be the person right underneath you, like cheering, and I'll put a little bananas logo under there, say the bananas for you too. Good job.
Love
good job.
It. I've seen it. I love it. I really appreciate it.
No, I think it's great. I'm excited about the future of our profession. I'm excited about the energy that's coming out of these kids. I'm excited that there's a paradigm shift happening right now in the private sector, in the public sector, and in the academic sector. There's a lot going on right now, and I think over the next 2 to 3 years, there is going to be a giant shift in mindset of where this industry goes over the next 20 to 30 years. And I think, Mike, with people like yourselves at the helm, I think that we're going to change this industry for the better. So thank you for what you do in preparing the next wave of accountants and just being such a great spokesperson for our beautiful discipline.
Well, I appreciate you having me on here, and I appreciate everything you do because I know you're teaching this stuff as well, and you're promoting it, and you're doing everything in your power. And you and I, we're fighting the same battle as a lot of other people here because it's meant so much to us both professionally. Agreed. And we just want to instill that in that next generation and let them reap the same rewards that you and I have. So I really appreciate what you do.
So last thing, I want to make sure that people know how to find you. So I'm a student or I'm someone in the world that wants to use your products. Where do I go to find Becker? I'm assuming it's Becker.com.
Yeah, that's it. You got it.
Okay.
Becker.com. And my name is Mike Potenza. My email's easy. mpotenza@becker.com, or just find me on LinkedIn and ask me whatever questions you want because I monitor my LinkedIn every day. I respond to every single post that comes in there. Tim and we have a lot of free time. So we're there all the time. We're just doing that stuff. And I love it. He loves it. I love it because we believe so much in this.
I'm excited. And hey, listen, thank you so much for imparting wisdom and just talking about accounting. I love talking about it. I think the future is accounting, and a lot of futures come out of accounting. And it's so fun to be to be running the race with someone that's right next to you. I think that you're right there with us. So again, thank you for being the great spokesman you are, and taking care of the generation that's coming up to take over all of our jobs. So if you need anything on the flip side, you just let me know, Mike. Becker CPA, you guys are doing wonderful work. Thank you.
Thank you, my friend, and thanks for having me. I look forward to the next time we could do this.
All right, enjoy Mexico. Don't drink the water.
All right, you got it. I got it bottled here. See, I'm good.
Oh, you got. I'll see you later, brother.
All right, so long, brother.
Bye-bye.